A lot of people think coming to Disney World alone is sad, but I go to Disney World every day and usually by myself. I'm gonna show you why a solo trip might be the smartest, most magical vacation you ever take. I used to think Disney World was something you only did with other people. Family trips, friend groups, cheer squads, it's built for that. Every commercial shows it, every planning video assumes it. I never even questioned it. But then I moved to Orlando. I moved here by myself, and at first I didn't know that many people. So I started going to the parks alone. And then through my work with AllEars, I started doing full park days solo, reporting walks, food reviews, and that's when it hit me. This place can actually work better when you're alone. Yes, I said it. I'm being bold in this video, and I'm saying that. That is the point of this video. I'm making an argument that it is actually better. Disney World is better when you go alone. In some ways, I'll tell you. No group chats, no decision fatigue, no standstill in the sun because someone's hangry and someone else wants more rides and someone else wants to sit. You move cleaner, faster, smarter. You raise your hand when they ask for a party of one. You slip into single rider. You place your mobile order without passing your phone around so everyone can look at the menu. You just go. And it's not about rushing, it's about rhythm. You move at your pace. You leave when you're ready. You stop when something catches your eye. You build your day around what your body needs, not what the group agrees on. And if you want to rope drop Space Mountain, do it. If you want to leave Magic Kingdom at 1 p.m. and go wander Disney Springs with a coffee, no one's stopping you. Most of the stress I used to feel at Disney wasn't about the crowds or the heat. It was about coordinating 5 people's moods. That all disappeared when it was just me. And I know how I might look. I'm a 43-year-old man walking around Disney World by myself. It's not the image people expect. Sometimes I get self-conscious. Sometimes I see a family having a beautiful moment and I miss my parents or someone I've lost. But I remind myself I'm not here by accident. I'm here because I belong here, just like everyone else does. I'm allowed to have a magical day by myself. I'm worth it. And honestly, these solo days have trained me. I've learned the flow, the timing, the shortcuts. So when friends or family visit, I can guide them through the parks flawlessly. No chaos, no second guessing, just smooth, joyful movement from one moment to the next. I even tell parents who visit Disney without their kids, this isn't selfish, this is smart. You're practicing, you're perfecting your routine, so when the kids come back, everything runs smoothly. You're just taking really good care of your kids, even while you're in Walt Disney World without them. But even if you're not training, solo is definitely still worth it because it's the first time you get to experience the parks on your terms. Not for someone else's birthday, not to keep the group together, not because your family always rides Pirates first, but because you chose to be here, and that choice, that is where the magic starts. Section 2, I can see clearly now. There's a strange thing that happens when you come to Disney World alone. Everything starts to register more clearly. You hear things you never noticed before. The background music, the texture of a ride's soundscape, the natural shift in air between indoor and outdoor spaces, and you start to realize something. The park hasn't changed, you have. One of the most vivid examples of this hit me in Adventureland. I wasn't talking, I wasn't checking on anyone else's needs or rushing to a reservation. I was just walking, and I started noticing the music, but not in the way I usually do. I realize the same musical theme plays throughout the entire land, and it changes gradually from one area to the next. It starts with a classic swashbuckling score near Pirates of the Caribbean, turns into this mellow tropical luau vibe near the Tiki Room, and picks up an Arabian flair by Magic Carpets of Aladdin. And by the time you reach Skipper Canteen, it's shifted into something heavier, more drum-based, almost jungle percussion. The melody never resets, it just evolves. One continuous loop, styled to fit each section. I had been here in Adventureland hundreds of times and never noticed that. And I'm into music. I love music. So the fact that I was kind of putting this puzzle together for the first time only because I was here by myself, it really hit me. Because I wasn't adjusting to anyone else's pace or energy. I had the freedom to move through the space with my senses open, and that changed what I was able to perceive. There's a neurological reason for this. Your brain has a limited amount of attentional bandwidth. When you're with other people having conversations, monitoring someone else's mood, listening, responding, that bandwidth gets consumed. You start to gate off anything that isn't immediately relevant. This is called sensory gating, and it's part of a larger process known as attentional load. Basically, your brain filters out low priority sensory input so you can focus on the social or emotional task at hand. But when you're alone, these filters drop. Your attention doesn't have to multitask. Your other senses, sound, smell, touch, start to come forward. Your brain starts recording in high resolution. And I know I've had many days where that shift has changed everything for me about the way that I experience a ride or attraction. I remember one afternoon in Animal Kingdom walking from Pandora into the Africa section. I had just passed Festival of the Lion King on the left when I caught a scent in the air. Sweet, floral, almost like jasmine or honeysuckle, but a little bit lighter. It stopped me in my tracks, and I had the freedom to stop. I wasn't being pulled to a reservation or another ride. I wasn't in conversation. I was just in the moment. I followed the scent, followed the tree it came from, small white blossoms, and took some photos. I went home, I researched it, and I figured out it was sweet acacia. And I only discovered it because I was alone, paying attention, with nothing pulling me out of the moment. I can't tell you what else I did that day. I don't remember the rides. I don't remember the food. But I remember that tree, that smell, that exact place on the path where it hit me. That's the kind of memory solo travel gives you. Not just experiences, but sensations that stay in your body. When you're alone at Disney, your memories stop being built around big events. They start being built around presence. You remember how the day felt, not just what you did. And I have to be honest with you that once you've had that clarity, moments like that stay with you and it's hard to go back. But of course, I put together intensely magical days for my friends and family because that's what we do. And I love being with them. But it doesn't mean I don't cherish my days here alone. Section 3, you learn what you actually love about Disney World. Solo days at Disney change what you gravitate towards. Not just how you move or how you feel, but what you're actually drawn to. And you don't realize how much of your trip is shaped by other people's preferences until those people aren't there. At first, I still moved on autopilot, rode what I always rode, ate what I always ate. I was always doing the right things, the classics, the ones you're supposed to check off, the ones my friends and family love doing. But slowly, something shifted. I started skipping Space Mountain, and I didn't miss it. And that's my dad's favorite ride. I started riding Living with the Land more than once in a single day. I'd sit in Liberty Square and just watch people walk by. Not because I was tired, but because I was satisfied. That was new. And then I found one of my favorite places in Epcot by accident because I was paying attention. I was grabbing food from La Cantina de San Angel, which is usually chaos outside. It was hot, everyone was looking for a table, but I saw a small sign, something most people just walked right past. It said that before 1 p.m., guests eating food from La Cantina could use the La Hacienda de San Angel dining room inside. And that room, it's quiet, it's beautiful. It overlooks World Showcase Lagoon, and it has really good air conditioning. Now I go there all the time. Chips, guacamole, Coke Zero. It's my oasis, and I only found it because I was by myself. There was no big epiphany moment where I realized I loved going to Disney alone. It happened gradually. At first, I missed my parents. I missed my friends. I felt guilty for having magical experiences without them, and I'd call them to tell them about everything I was seeing and experiencing. But over time, I started accepting those moments. Now when I walk into the parks, I don't come in trying to recapture something or meet someone's expectations. I come in ready, open. devoted to whatever detail or surprise or magic moment shows up. And part of that ritual now is saying hi to cast members who've become part of my rhythm. People I've built a rapport with, not just that cast member was nice to me, but real connection. I care about their lives. I root for their careers. I want them to grow and thrive and get everything they want. These are some of my favorite people in the world now, and I only know them because I have the time and space to really talk to them. Magic Kingdom especially, I don't know what it is, but there are so many cast members here that feel like family. And that brings me to another big change. Disney stops being a list of things to do, and it becomes a place you already know how to use. Does that make sense? You're not just following a list going from one experience to another. Any minute change in plans from one experience to the next recalculates instantaneously in your brain, and you're able to know the next 10 moves without any effort, not even trying. And once you found that version of Disney, I don't think you ever forget it. I don't think it ever leaves you. And you protect it because it's not for anyone else. It's not for anyone else to judge. It's not for anyone else to say anything about. It's just for you. Section 4, you're not lonely, you're liberated. People get this part wrong a lot. They think going to Disney World alone must be isolating, like you're surrounded by families, couples, matching shirts, and magic moments, and you're the outlier, the one who's not part of it. But that's not what it feels like to me. It feels open. It feels grounded. It feels like you're actually in the park instead of rushing through it. You're not managing anyone's happiness. You're not narrating the day out loud. You're not trying to capture a memory. You're just in one. And sure, there are days when the contrast hits harder than others. You see a dad tying a kid's shoe, a teenager on their first trip, a group of friends celebrating something big, and it makes you feel something, but it's not envy. It's awareness. You're not on the outside looking in. You're fully inside it, watching the world unfold without needing to shape it. Some of my clearest days in Walt Disney World have been ones where I've cried. Last year, I found out my grandma Marge had died. I was just arriving in Epcot when my dad called. I didn't leave. I didn't panic. I walked over to one of the built-in seating areas in World Discovery, those ones tucked into the landscaping kind of, and I just sat. No one else was around, and I cried. I thought about all the trips we'd taken to Disney together. I remembered her face in old vacation photos. I remembered holding her hand in line, and because I was alone, I wasn't distracted. I wasn't talking. I wasn't trying to be normal. I was walking through Epcot with her. Every place I went that day just reminded me of her in some way, and it ended up being one of the most special days I've ever had in a theme park. That's something people miss. Being alone doesn't mean you're empty. Sometimes it means you're so full of memory and emotion and presence that there's no room for anything else. And Disney World, with all its sensory layers and emotional triggers, becomes the perfect place to let that unfold. Even now, I'll have days where I walk through Magic Kingdom or Hollywood Studios and feel the weight of it all, what I've lost, what I've gained, who I wish could be here with me. I remind myself I am allowed to be here. I'm allowed to feel things, and I'm allowed to have a magical day on my own terms. And so are you. Because when you stop trying to make the day feel normal, you realize it can be something better than normal. It can be real and deep and whatever you need it to be. So no, you're not lonely. You're actually present. You're open and you're allowed to show up in whatever way the day asks of you. Even if that means tears, even if that means quiet, even if that means just standing in one spot, feeling the sun and letting the world move around you while someone you love walks with you in memory. That's not lonely. That's sacred. Section 5, you don't have to explain it to anyone. Even after having the perfect solo day, someone is inevitably going to ask you or say something like, you went to Disney World by yourself? And we're talking, this is the moment when you are the most present, fulfilled, and completely at peace. And someone is gonna come along and try to harsh your mellow. Why not wait until someone could go with you? Didn't it feel weird? Like, didn't you feel lonely? And if you're someone who comes here a lot, especially alone, you know it doesn't stop there. People make assumptions, they whisper, they project. There are people in my life who genuinely think I've lost my mind because they don't understand what I do for a living. Because they scroll past a post and see me in Disney World again by myself, and they just don't get it. And that's fine, because if I let that misunderstanding shape what I do or how I share, I'd be shrinking something that's been real and valuable and healing. I come here almost every day for work, but even if I didn't, I'd probably be here anyway. The circumstances of my life led me naturally to this rhythm. I didn't plan to become a person who goes to Disney World alone all the time, but once I did, I realized how good it feels. So I wanted to take this opportunity to tell you about it. Yes, I live in Fantasyland, and I love it. And I don't say this to defend myself or to justify anything. I'm here to offer something that might help you. Because maybe this isn't just for people who live nearby. Maybe it's not just for people who work here or film here or escape here. Maybe it's for couples who could spend the day in different parks and meet for a beautiful dinner at night, swapping stories and sharing magic that was experienced separately then brought together. Maybe it's for parents who take turns, one solo trip each, so they can come back, recharge, centered, and ready to share the magic more calmly with their kids. Maybe it's just for you. One time, one quiet morning, one day where every sense you have is focused entirely on the place you came to love in the first place. This is coming from someone who loves people, who lights up when someone stops me in the park to talk about AllEars, who gets joy, like actual, real physical joy from connecting, talking, laughing, planning, and sharing. But I'm also saying there is something to be said for doing it alone, for devoting 100% of your senses to this place that is so incredible, for walking through Disney World without distraction, without negotiation, without noise. That's where the magic cuts through. That's when it actually reaches you. And isn't that what we all say we want? To feel the magic? Well, this is one of the clearest ways I have found to do it, and I hope you will give it a try at least once. If you made it to the end, go ahead and drop this password in the comments below. And while you're there, why not like and subscribe and turn on notifications, because my friends and I create content 7 days a week on this channel. See you next time.